All right, I'll call the Thursday, March 19th, regular meeting of the Kodiak Island Borough to order. First up on the agenda is the invocation from Captain Diane Shadow of the Salvation Army.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we gather tonight to serve the people of the Kodiak Island Borough. We're grateful for the beauty and abundance of this island, for the surrounding waters that sustain us, and for the diverse community that we call home. We ask for your guidance and wisdom for this assembly as they consider the matters on tonight's agenda. Grant them clarity of mind, unity of spirit, and a heart for service. May the discussions held here tonight be productive and lead towards a future of hope and opportunity for our communities, from the city of Kodiak to our outlying villages. We ask all these things for the greater good of all. Amen.
Amen. And now for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And we are gathered on the traditional homeland of the Sukpiaq-Alutiiq people, and we acknowledge the 10 tribes of the Kodiak-Alutiiq region. We recognize the Alutiiq culture that enriches our community to this day. Roll call, please.
Mr. Ames.
Here.
Mr. Gardner.
Here.
Mr. Johnson.
Here.
Mrs. Roberts.
Here.
Mr. Smiley.
Here.
Mr. Whiteside.
Here.
Mr. Woods.
Here.
Mayor Griffin.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Up next is approval of the agenda and the consent agenda. The consent agenda includes the regular meeting minutes of March 5th, 2026. Is there a motion? Mr. Whiteside.
Move to approve the agenda and consent agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. And motion carries. Next, citizen comments. There are 2 designated citizen comments periods during regular meetings, one at the beginning and one at the end. These comment periods are intended for general comments as well as for agenda items that are not part of a public hearing. We do have one public hearing item for tonight, which is the State of Alaska Alcohol and Marijuana Control Office Beverage Dispensary Liquor License Transfer of Controlling Interest for Kodiak Hana Restaurant, license number 4325. Comments for this item will be heard when the item is called during public hearing. Please wait until we get to that portion of the agenda. For those who wish to call in, the local number is 907-486-3231. Toll free is 1-855-492-9202. Please turn off your radio or any listening device to prevent feedback. And for those in the room who wish to speak under citizens' comments, please come to the podium and sign in. Turn on the microphone, make sure that green light is on before speaking, and please speak directly into the mic. State your name for the record, and please address all remarks to the assembly as a body and not to any member thereof. We'll start by, are there any calls? Okay. Come on down.
Hello, my name is Dan Rohr, Mayor, Assembly, Manager. Thanks for letting me make comments. I'm going to be out of town for the next 2 Thursday nights, but after that, I plan to come say hi to you every single Thursday night until you adopt your budget. I am extremely concerned that you all will consider fully funding the school district and that you will consider lifting the tax cap. That would be detrimental to us as a community. We simply can't afford it. So, if you look at my various buildings that I own, I already spend the better part of a month's gross revenue to cover my tax bill. It makes owning property in Kodiak not particularly profitable versus elsewhere. And so that part is challenging. I just don't think we can afford more than that as a community. It's the single biggest thing that would drive, if you take away the tax cap, it is going to drive, not just for people like myself that own commercial property, but residential individuals in our community, it's going to cost more to live here, and that will be a decision that you make. So again, I would encourage you to toe the line, hold the line against increasing the tax cap. You're going to hear from the Kodiak Island Borough School District that they have to have this to be able to educate our children well. It's just simply not true. The Kodiak Island Borough School District has more money per student than they've ever had before in the history of the Kodiak Island Borough. They will lead you to believe that that's simply not true, but we have a declining enrollment in our community. And the truth of the matter is they have, if you take per student allocation, not per student allocation from the state, but you take the $50 million and divide it by the number of students in our school district, they get more money per student than they've ever gotten before. Additionally, I don't think as a community we should reward KIBSD. Obviously had lots of budget discussions, and I'm going to be a little hard on them, but they knew they needed to close another school. They knew it last year when they closed the one they closed. I told them at that meeting, the enrollment numbers are going to dictate you have no choice. You have too much overhead. You simply cannot afford to keep a school open. So they've punted that till next year, and I presume they'll probably close it next year. But in the meantime, for this year, the solution for them is for you to fund them at $14 million that we as a borough can't afford. So I'm asking you, toe the line where you've been at the last couple of years. Don't lift the tax cap. And a specific request to the manager, I would ask that when you bring your budget forward, that you take that really, really hard step of holding the line at that level, because then it takes some of the pressure off of the elected officials. So that's why they pay you the big bucks, so that you can make that hard decision. But again, I know I am being hard on the Kodiak Island Borough School District, but there are tough times. There's tough times for everybody. They have $50 million to spend. I would like to see them stay within that. So again, thank you. I'll be back again just to encourage you to not increase the cap. Thank you guys. Appreciate all of your time. Thanks.
Thank you, Dan. Appreciate you coming in. We do have one call on the line.
You are now answering a call from the queue.
Assembly meeting, you're on the air. Please state your name for the record.
My name is Brenda Schwantes.
Go ahead, Brenda.
Okay, great. Thank you. I just wanted to say that Dan Rohr said what I have been wanting to say, but I'm not that eloquent of a speaker. So I really support identically what Dan had to say about the school district budget, and that we can't afford it. I know the borough has historically for many years, I don't know when or if the assembly ever towed the line on the ask for the school district. It's really unfortunate. I talk to so many parents that are pulling their kids out of school, and I work with the public a lot. It's just really unfortunate. I wish the school district would have closed the school. It's on the schedule for next year. The parents spoke out. I'm asking the assembly to toe the line, look out. It costs $20,000 to reshingle a 900 square foot house, $10,000 to defrost your pipes. Property taxes are really expensive. At $7,000-8,000 for a paint job, $2,500 for a window repair. It goes on and on and on. It's very expensive. I'm asking the assembly to consider the citizens, which I know the district is part of, but the district needs to trim their budget. That's just how I feel. Thank you for your time.
And thank you, Brenda.
Thanks.
Anyone else? Oh. Okay. All right, then we will move on into our first, awards and presentations. We can't forget about Lena. Oh, my goodness. We have a presentation of the Master Municipal Clerk Certificate and Pin to Deputy Clerk Lena Cruz, MMC. Nobody want to take the lead on this? Or do I just walk up and just stab Lena with a, okay, let's do it.
Deputy Clerk Lena Cruz began working for the borough in April 2019, and that is when her journey to become a certified municipal clerk started. She received her certified municipal clerk designation on February 28, 2023, and that initial certification was no small feat. It required a deep dive into extensive education programs which were designed to sharpen the skills needed to serve a municipality. And Lena did not stop there. She embarked on a challenging journey of advanced continuing education and professional contributions. On January 20th, 2026, all of our hard work paid off when Lena received the esteemed Master Municipal Clerk MMC designation. The MMC represents more than just a new certificate or a few additional letters after her name. It's the highest professional certification level awarded by the International Institute of Municipal Clerks, indicating that a clerk has truly mastered the intricate administrative skills essential for governance. It is a declaration that Lena is not just proficient, she is a skilled master of her profession. The borough extends a huge congratulations to Deputy Clerk Lena Cruz. We are lucky to have her expertise and dedication working for us every day.
Congratulations. You want to stand there, Lena, and then I'll take a picture with everyone here, please.
Let's get down there with Lena, come on.
Yes, yes, that would be awesome. One more, Jeff.
Let's go hop along.
We got a pretty short fella.
Join them, please.
Oh, my word. One more. 1, 2, 3.
We should get one with Nova.
Yeah. This is pageantry, right?
Yes.
Here we go. Say Kodiak.
Kodiak.
Congratulations.
I have a.
You will walk down the line anyway.
I made my words precise.
Okay. So, good evening, Mayor and Assembly, Madam Manager, Borough Clerk. So I started working here in 2019 as DPO, Whiteside just mentioned, which was like almost 7 years ago. Not really knowing what an assistant clerk was, let alone what that job actually meant. Honestly, I'm still convinced that half of our job is explaining what we do. At that time, I definitely couldn't have imagined standing here today. Nova wasn't here when I first started. She was part of the hiring process, but I didn't get to work with her. But since she was at the city for a short period of time, I was still able to reach out to her. And from that moment that I joined the Institute of Municipal Clerks, she became a mentor to me, sharing her knowledge, her experience, and a lot of patience, as she still does. Looking back at that guidance, it made all the difference. In 2020, I wasn't even sure that I would stay in the clerk's office, let alone get the opportunity to work directly and learn from Nova. But things have a way of working themselves out, and I'm really grateful they did. In 2023, I earned my CMC, and now, years later, faster than I expected, and more than I was mentally prepared for, I've earned my MMC. I didn't think I was going to get emotional. I'm incredibly grateful to Nova for her mentorship and to Irene for being so supportive and such a great teammate, always encouraging me and cheering me on, both of them. I'll be honest, this still feels a little surreal, especially considering that challenges along the way from COVID to some less than ideal work environments earlier in my career. But those experiences made this moment even more meaningful. The MMC is the highest achievement in our profession. It represents dedication, growth, and a commitment to serving our community with excellence. And when I submitted my application, it was Friday, and I truly thought they might send it back and say, nice try, come back with a few more points. But they didn't, so here I am. I'd also like to thank the mayor and assembly for past and present for supporting continuing education and professional development. The investment really does make a difference, not just for me, but for the borough as a whole. This milestone isn't the end of my journey. I plan to keep learning, growing, and taking advantage of opportunities through IIMC so I can continue to serve this community as best I can. And on a personal note, being a Salvadorian woman, a single mom, and no high school diploma, someone who didn't follow a traditional educational path, I'm incredibly proud of this moment and myself for getting here. This represents perseverance, growth, and the belief that there's more than one path to success. Thank you for all your support.
And thank you, Lena, I think I speak on behalf of all of us. Yes, thank you. Lena has been one of my best writing students long time ago. So it's always great when we can celebrate one of our own, and you totally deserve it. So thank you. Okay, all right. And now there's an agenda. All right, next up is committee reports. I'm just going to go down the line and let's see if there are any updates. I'll start here, my left, Mr. Gardner.
Okay, yeah. I'll start simple. Just the other day, we had Solid Waste Advisory Board meeting, and direction there was kind of pontificating on the idea of the incineration versus the other options that we had at solid waste, and everybody there wanted to do some more education on the topic. I think that board was pretty well mixed halfway down the middle about incineration versus other options and the financial implications thereof. It was also the first time that they've had a quorum since I was assigned to that board, so it was nice to see some new membership and whatnot in there. Furthermore, a couple weeks ago, I attended Swampsea and was elected by you guys and also by my caucus while there at the conference. I have extensive notes on it, and I'd be happy to delve into it further, but I'll try to give you guys just a brief rundown. Day one, it was basically introductions, and then we practiced a kind of a small group exercise where we discussed possible disaster implications, some of which was, what would be the impact on our community if we did have a disaster where we had a cruise ship that was here, and kind of making one challenge even more challenging. Big focus for our group was to talk about tsunamis, obviously, big concern here, and then also landslides in particular, over town and out by the Coast Guard base, and the implications that would have on our community and disaster response, especially at the Coast Guard base, if it impacted, runways and being able to get aid into the community. Main takeaway there was to possibly integrate a landslide warning system down the line. It is something that is of concern to the community. We had some pretty substantial landslides over the last couple of years here right above town, so definitely something that we may want to consider looking into in the future. That evening, I also attended the pre-conference board in Jared's place, As I was not officially accepted onto the board of directors at that point in time, I was pretty much just a fly on the wall and trying to get an idea of how things worked inside of that board. Let's see. Day 2 was all about economic diversification for the state of Alaska, which is going to be increasingly important for our community as the entire state is down 5 to 15% in revenue across the board. Kodiak's expected to see about 35% less fish landings in calendar year 26. So we've got some big decisions to make about how we are going to look at revenue and taxable income throughout the borough and the city, and what we can do to diversify our economy. There was a lot of options and some presentations and things that I can really delve into, but it would take quite some time to sum it up. We need to look at our tourism schedule heavily and see if there's a way we can capture more tax revenue from cruise ships and our other tourists, our fishermen and hunters, and maybe not just them, but spouses that come along with them, and really capitalizing on that as a new revenue source. We're starting to see that with mariculture in some regard, but to really turbocharge that would be a great situation. Then we had the annual meeting, and I was officially inducted onto the board of directors. More talks about tourism, and let's see, that evening I also got to interface with Louise Stutz. We had some discussions regarding Alaska Aerospace and the Peterson School. Big takeaway from that conversation was that as we're talking about school closures and things, and this $27.2 billion that's coming up into our corridor via DHS in the near future, supposedly at any rate, that we need to affirm our commitment to Peterson, and that may help us generate some funding and some help from DHS and the Coast Guard in terms of infrastructure and possibly taking care of that school. I also talked to Casey from Alaska Airlines about the possibility of trying to air freight more produce into Kodiak and what that might look like, and how Alaska Airlines is being affected by a freight shortage from Kodiak. They're coming in with planes that have a reasonable load, but they're leaving empty because we're not doing the same amount of business that we are in fish. And so we may have some shipping difficulties in the future, but they were open to talks with that. And then also talked to Nicole Baker from Net Your Problem, who is going to, Net Your Problem is going to be kind of a big part of our solid waste contract moving forward, and trying to keep fishing gear out of the landfill. Day 3, a lot happened on day 3. That was Fish Friday. McKinley Research Group was talking about how retaliatory tariffs on seafood makes Kodiak seafood kind of less valuable. It's a lot of economical jargon in there, and it was pretty outstanding thing to listen to. The seafood panel, Stephanie Moreland from Trident and the Trawler Association, I felt like there was some sort of misleading numbers there coming from the trawler conversation. That's obviously a pretty hot topic throughout the state of Alaska right now. And then, let's see, we also I got to meet with Mary Peltola, Gary Stevens, and Lyman Hoffman, and their forecast ultimately was pretty depressing. And I think this lies and falls into our school board discussion as it evolves over the next coming weeks. The state was experiencing a $530 million deficit for 2026 already. And to loosely quote Lyman Hoffman, they've cut the budget down to its bare bones. No help is coming, and it's time to tighten our belts. Anytime I tried to lobby anybody for help with the harbor or any of the other issues that we have locally, the resounding response I got was to wait 10 years and see what happens when Dunleavy is moved on, and see what we've got in the governor's mansion at that point in time. Saw the gubernatorial panel, which was pretty interesting. I don't think I really want to get into that because I don't want to color anyone's opinions on your governor's candidates, but got to see most of that, though we did have to leave and go catch flight back home. And then on Saturday, I virtually attended the post-conference meeting as well. That is a great sum of things from Swampsea, and the biggest takeaway I had from that was that before I was on the assembly, I was always very irked at how much money the borough would spend on sending people to things like this. And the number of inroads that I made while I was on that short trip kind of blew me away. It was very daunting at first, and I felt like I came into my own as the days went by and realized that, you know, I wasn't the dumbest person in the room, and I did belong there. So I cannot express the importance of that meeting and my overall understanding of what we as a community are facing and we as a state are facing, and just getting a broader picture of what we need to do as a community moving forward. If anybody has any questions and would like me to go further into anything, feel free to ask. Like I said, I have a ton of notes, so that's all I've got for you.
Thank you, Mr. Garner. I agree. Yes, Swampsea is one of our most, I think, important conferences that and organizations that we partake in. Mr. Johnson.
Nothing to report.
All right. Mr. Smiley.
Nothing to report.
Mr. Ames.
No committee report.
Mr. Whiteside.
Just a note that the Solid Waste Contract Committee meeting was postponed until Tuesday, March 24th at 3 p.m. in the Borough Conference Room.
Thank you. All right. Ms. Roberts.
The Kodiak College Advisory Council met on March 12th. The college is currently in a transition phase while they're searching for a new director. We'll be discussing fundraising efforts in the coming meetings, as well as there's new members expected to be coming onto the council in the coming months, hopefully by summer.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Woods.
Nothing to report.
All right. And for me, we moved the Lands Committee meeting to April 6th. And that'll be, I think, virtually the same agenda on that one. And then I am on the search committee for the new director for Kodiak College, so I'm looking forward to serving on that too. Okay, moving on to the public hearing. This is the State of Alaska Alcohol and Marijuana Control Office Beverage Dispensary Liquor License, Transfer of Controlling Interest for Kodiak Hana Restaurant License Number 4325. Mr. Whiteside.
Move to voice non-protest to the State of Alaska Alcohol and Marijuana Control Office, AMCO, beverage dispensary liquor license transfer of controlling interest for Kodiak Hana Restaurant, and direct the clerk to notify AMCO of this decision.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Let's get a staff report. Lena, are you taking this one or Nova?
I'll take it.
Nova, okay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the Assembly. Kodiak Hana Restaurant is seeking a transfer of controlling interest for their license, transitioning ownership from 100% to 50% for Tomio Demura, with Fumiko Demura acquiring 50%. The update includes adding Gun Cho as Vice President and Director. We conducted our investigation per Borough Code, along with sending out 162 public hearing notices on March 6, 2026. None were returned. Based on the investigation, we recommend non-objection to the transfer. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Nova. So I will open public hearing for anyone who wishes to comment on this item. The phone that you can call in, phone number is 907-486-3231, toll free 1-855-492-9202. And for those in the audience, same thing, come on down, turn on the mic, sign your name, introduce yourself. And we will give us about, we'll give us a little bit to see if anybody calls in. Okay, seeing no calls or no comments, I'll close the public hearing and open it up to assembly discussion. Any discussion? All right, seeing no discussion, roll call vote on the motion, please.
Mr. Ames.
Yes.
Mr. Gardner.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Ms. Roberts.
Yes.
Mr. Smiley.
Yes.
Mr. Whiteside.
Yes.
Mr. Woods.
Yes.
Would anyone like to change their vote? Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, on to the Borough Manager's report. Madam Manager, take it away.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I attended the Kodiak Chamber of Commerce meeting. There's several Kodiak Chamber of Commerce sponsored events that are coming up soon that the community should be aware of. Comfish Alaska is happening from April 16th through 18th. Our Community Cleanup Day, which the borough plays a big part of, is happening on May 2nd, and Kodiak Crab Festival is scheduled for May 21st through 25th. I also attended the Kodiak Economic Development Corporation meeting. They passed the housing action plan that they've been working on, and we got some really interesting updates on their maricultural development that they're working on for the community. KDC has several grants that they're working on for mariculture and working with Wild Source down on Shalikoff, and there's some exciting opportunities I see coming for Kodiak. The Citizens Academy had its second session this week on Tuesday. Community Development was the second department to present, and Chris French presented an overview of the department. The next session will be held on Tuesday, March 24th. It will be an overview of the Clerk's Department. Sessions start at 6 p.m. right here in the Assembly Chambers. On Monday, Assemblymember Gardner and I took a tour of several staff members from both the Borough and KCHC through the old mental health buildings to determine if it might be a possible fit for KCHC's expansion. Unfortunately, we got an email back from them today that their timeline doesn't allow them to start over in that space. The next thing in here is the upcoming budget timeline. You'll see that our next work session, which is on March 26th, we'll be hearing from our service areas with boards, and Nova has done an excellent job making sure that they are all getting their invitations. So hopefully we will have someone representing each of those boards. In finance, we're filing for judgment and decree of foreclosure on the 2025 tax foreclosures on or about April 13th. Once those are signed, the judgment will put a lien on real properties until delinquent taxes are paid. Since additional interest and fees continue to accrue, if you're looking to pay off, please call the Finance Department at 486-9324 to get a payoff amount. In information technology, IT has been working on completing upgrades and patches on our internal Active Directory infrastructure. They're also starting work on the grant project that was approved at the last meeting with Kodiak Cyber. They're also working on setting scheduled backups for disaster recovery for the borough and our HVAC long technology systems, which is going to entail a small redesign of our internal network because our IT director is very good about making sure who has access to our internal systems and who does not. In assessing, we're going to have a good cause exemption hearings on May 21st. The notice of value appeals have started. That happens throughout the month of March. There has been about 40 inquiries per day, so over 500 already. 90 notice of value amounts have been updated since they came in, and there's been one request to appeal to the Board of Equalization. That period is open through March 31st. If you have not gotten your postcard, please call 486-9353 and ask to get your notice of value for your property. As the notice of appeals have gone along, we have found that there are something that I did not know about called escaped properties. Assessing found there were properties with zero values for specific area of improvements, allows for assessing to make corrections for errors or omissions in the roll before the Board of Equalization hearing happens. So there were 54 properties that were recalculated and got a new notice. Those specific properties have an extended appeal date all the way out until April 17th. If we need to do a Board of Equalization for any of those properties, that would happen later in May. We have no change in exemption appeals. As far as our exemption reconsideration, the Calvary Chapel Bells Flats has 30 days to file to go to either the Board of Equalization or Superior Court if they don't agree with the assessor's reconsideration. In community development, there was a Planning and Zoning Commission meeting happened last night. We're reviewing a request from the city of Kodiak to rezone a property on Metroken Way where they are putting Lift Station 5. Speaking of Lift Station 5, the staff also met with Public Works Director to talk about public water and sewer capacity. Staff discussed the capacity of each system regarding potential borough land sales, the comprehensive plan, and upcoming case reviews, such as the Kodiak Island Housing Authority subdivision on Sealift Lane for those properties with RCAC, that self-build area by the airport. In engineering facilities, the Solid Waste Contract Committee, as Assemblymember Whiteside just mentioned, has been rescheduled to the 24th at 3 p.m. For fuel spill assistance, the landfill cleanup is on the agenda tonight. No other changes in the other two sites. At the landfill on Saturday, we did landfill scale maintenance. Philip Scale was out here. They went to perform maintenance on the scale. There's supposed to be jacks underneath the scale to jack up the scale so they can do the maintenance. Those jacks are no longer there. And there was a lot of ice buildup underneath, so they weren't able to do the full amount of maintenance that they wanted to, but they were able to calibrate. So the scale was calibrated and we'll be able to go through the state inspection, so that was good. In small projects, there's only changes on two of them. The Portline School Painting Project. Cody, our project manager, was out for the Portline's fire alarm panel replacement project. He checked to make sure that there was some flashing where the drawing showed there was going to be flashing, but you couldn't see it. And it was there, which is a good thing. There is some rotting wood around a belly band along the bottom of the building, and our original plans were to replace that wood, but because the flashing exists, we shouldn't have to replace that, and it won't cause any structural difference. So we should be able to de-scope that project a little bit, so it will be cheaper than the $266 that we think that it is. We already talked about Solid Waste Contract Committee, but on that same day and in the same location, there's a Health Facilities Advisory Board at 1:30 happening in the conference room. This advisory board is going to be a little bit different than our previous ones. Usually we only talk about Providence projects. This time we've invited KCHC to come as well because it's meant for the entire hospital facility and not just Providence projects. So they will be there talking about some of the stuff that you heard last week from KCHC. And that's all I have tonight. I'm happy to answer questions.
Okay, are there any questions for the manager? Please make sure that these are questions related to the report and avoid any substantive policy discussions. Mr. Whiteside.
Thank you. Through the mayor, were there any discussions or I guess updates from KEDC about Gibson Cove and mariculture?
That is part of what KDC is looking at. That is more of a future project. Wild Source got a pretty sizable grant from the Southeast Alaska Municipal Conference through mariculture grants. And so most of the attention is putting into there and doing value-added stuff to mariculture after it's harvested. So they're doing a really good job with looking at the market for it instead of, we know we can grow it, now what do we do with it? And so a lot of the studies and the effort is going into who's going to actually purchase it and how we can add value to that. One of the things we talked a lot about was the cosmetic industry and adding, they make a slurry out of seaweed and sending that slurry off to cosmetic companies. So we're not really going to compete because of where we're located with the people who want to eat the seaweed so much. So we're looking on what can we add it to, what kind of products. And so there is a wide range from plastics to cattle feed to cosmetics. And so it's a lot more in-depth than where I thought it was at. And when there was a change in director at KDC, I thought there was a chance that some of that mariculture stuff might fall off, and it hasn't. They're doing fantastic. So when I try to sneak a little bit of money for KDC into the budget, it is directly related to how good they are doing in mariculture.
Great, thank you.
Mr. Smiley.
Can you expand a bit on KCHC and the former mental health buildings and why they didn't want it?
Absolutely. So as you heard last week, Assemblymember Gardner had the idea of taking them over and having them walk through. It might have been the fact that it took us like 10 minutes to break into the frozen locks and we all stood outside and froze. No. They have spent a lot of time and effort and money on the proposals that they brought us last week, that you saw the floor plans and the outside designs, and so they have a lot invested. I think the biggest factor of why that idea seems overwhelming is simply because they would have to start from scratch, and it's the middle of March, and that money has to be spent or obligated by the end of September, and so that timeline is just really aggressive. And And I know you guys have seen pictures, and maybe Assemblymember Gardner can share comments at some point. It's bare bones, and so you really have to have a vision. It's truly a blank canvas.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I have a couple. One, how was the Citizens Academy going? What's the turnout been?
So far, so good. 7. We have 2 of our best students here in the front row. We have someone who just moved to Kodiak a month ago, and they had to send an email to me and say, "Where is the assembly chambers?" And I was like, "Oh,
Great.
Right." I just tell everyone to come to the assembly chambers and expect people to know where that's at, but they don't. And then we have a variety of other people, and it's going really well. The first one with engineering and facilities, Cody gave, and it was an excellent overview, and there are a lot of good questions. And then Chris gave community development this week, and I think community development does a lot of things behind the scenes that unless you are actively involved in a rezone or you want to do a variance on your property, you probably don't understand. So there was a lot of questions like, why do we do it that way? And Chris did a really good job answering those. So I have seen Nova's for next week, and I have seen SEMA's presentation for the week after that. And Dora is still working on hers for the last one, but I think it's been really good. I'm learning, so I know that the people coming are learning. So
Great.
off to a good start.
And then I just want to, I got one of the postcards, the Notice of Value postcards. They're great. They look just like a jury summons, so I took it really seriously, and I got a jury summons and the notice within like 2 days of each other. So I felt like I was in trouble. For a little bit,
Unfortunately,
but-
there's no number that you can call to try to get
Yeah.
out of one of those.
All right, thank you, Amy. Messages from the borough mayor. First, once again, thank you all for your patience and diligence as our family has experienced 2 sudden kind of tragic deaths within a few months, and so it's been really difficult. So, what a way to start off a mayoral term. So I appreciate everybody's patience and grace with that. I mentioned the Lands Committee. I have a meeting with Providence tomorrow, and we'll be meeting with Discover Kodiak 2. I'm beginning talks with stakeholder groups about diversifying revenue. So just to kind of dip my toes in some of those waters to see what I think we could bring to the assembly. And then while I was gone, you probably saw that email about the airport parking. And I just want to let you know that I jumped on it and made some calls to people I knew at DOT and some emails. And one of those emails just made it into like the official public comment packet. And but a few things. I think it was overall positive. It cleared up some of the misinformation that was out there, but I was able to get DOT, on the record to say that electronic comments could be submitted instead of. I think some folks were freaking out a little bit, thinking that comments just had to be mailed in and trying to get those in time. And then, and also put on the record that we need to be thinking about a long-term strategy for the airport, not just for the terminal, but for cargo and definitely for parking. Out there. And so those comments, I think I CC'd Amy and Nova on those, but if you're interested in seeing them, then we can send them to you. I did not intend for them to be part of the official record, but I don't think I said anything inflammatory in there. So I think that's it for me. Let's move on into contracts. All right. Up first, contract number FY 2026-45, landfill soil remediation with Brecken Construction LLC. Mr. Whiteside.
Move to authorize the borough manager to execute contract number FY 2026-45 with Brecken Construction LLC for landfill soil remediation in the amount of $61,500.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Staff report. Madam Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In September of 2018, we performed an underground take removal for the Kodiak landfill baling facility. During excavation, soil contamination was discovered. The contaminated soil was screened and placed into 71 cubic yard lined super sacks. In November of 2019, KIB submitted a work plan to Alaska Department of Environmental Conservation proposing the land farming method of treating the contaminated soil on site. In September of 23, we submitted our first addendum to the work plan, which was approved due to budget constraints and leadership changes. In January of 2026, we submitted another addendum to ADAC to include updates to the land farming operations. The addendum was approved by ADAC on January 22nd of this year. Staff developed and advertised an invitation to bid on January 28th, which was advertised for the designated 3 weeks, and bids were due on March 3rd. There was a mandatory pre-bid meeting on February 20th. There were 10 bidders or subcontractors of bidders in attendance. At bid opening, staff received 3 bid packages. Following the review of the bid packages, 3 were determined to be responsible. The Brecken Construction was determined to be the lowest cost responsible bidder. In your packet tonight is the bid tabulation, so you can see the 3 responsive bidders. And then the notice of intent to award, and then the invitation to bid that went out. This is to screen all of those 71 sacks to get any piece of rock that is over 2 inch out. We have permission from ADC to immediately use that as cover, and then we will make a land farm. The contract is to build that land farm, and then do all of the submitting to ADC and follow up with that project until it's cleared, and then we can use the rest of it for cover as well.
Great. Any assembly discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote on the motion.
Mr. Gardner,
Yes.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
Ms. Roberts,
Yes.
Mr. Smiley,
Yes.
Mr. Whiteside,
Yes.
Mr. Woods,
Yes.
Mr. Ames.
Yes.
Would anyone like to change their vote? Motion passes unanimously.
Next contract is contract number FY 2026-46, picnic table removal and replacements with AIM Maintenance LLC. Mr. Whiteside.
Move to authorize the borough manager to execute contract number FY 2026-46 for picnic table removal and replacements with AIM Maintenance LLC for $9,200.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Manager Williams with the staff report.
Thank you. 2 of the borough-owned parks that have wooden picnic tables have fallen into disrepair. In 2019, the borough purchased a supply of metal replacement tables to be installed as needed. The request for quotes was developed to hire a contractor to remove and replace up to 4 tables, 2 at Otmaloy Park and 2 at Sargent Creek Park. The RFQ was posted at the Kodiak Island Borough website on February 9th. The estimated project cost falls below the threshold requiring newspaper publication, so staff were not obligated to advertise in print, but we did hold a mandatory pre-bid meeting on February 17th and followed by a quote opening on February 25th. There was only 1 quote submission, and it came from AIM Maintenance, with the cost of 2 tables at Otmaloy Park being $4,600 and 2 tables at Sargent Creek Park also being $4,600. Funding for Otmaloy Park is scheduled to come from our Parks and Rec, where we put $150,000 into that line item for fiscal year 26. And the other one from grant funding from the Sargent Creek Park upgrades, where we have until 2027 to spend the rest of that money, but we're looking at adding a 3rd piece of equipment, which we already own, to Sargent Creek Park later in this summer. It'll be fiscal year 27 technically, but it's still summer of 26.
Great, thank you. Assembly discussion. Ms. Roberts.
Yeah, when we talked about this at the work session, initially I kind of had sticker shock. And one of my concerns about the Sargent Creek Park was how much of the grant the picnic tables were going to take up. And so I followed up with borough manager. There's a significant amount of the grant left, so this will not use a large amount of that. And like Madam Manager said, they're going to hopefully install some playground equipment this summer as well. I think replacing the tables now prevents potential safety issues as they deteriorate in further. I don't know if y'all have been out there recently, but they are deteriorating. So I will support this.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Woods?
Yeah, I'm gonna end up supporting this as well. I mean, again, at first, sticker shock was definitely a thing. We stopped to think about it, okay, $4,600 for 2 tables. However, you also have to kind of account for the loss of revenue for other projects in that day. So with that and the concrete work, that doesn't seem extreme to me. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, seeing none, roll call vote on the motion.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
Ms. Roberts,
Yes.
Mr. Smiley,
Yes.
Mr. Whiteside,
Yes.
Mr. Woods,
Yes.
Mr. Ames,
Yes.
Mr. Gardner.
Yes.
Would anyone like to change their vote? Motion passes unanimously.
And our final contract today, contract number FY 2026-53, Pool Destructive Testing and Repairs Project, Construction Documents and Administrative Services with Jensen Yorba Wall. Mr. Whiteside.
Move to authorize the Borough Manager to execute contract number FY 2026-53 with Jensen Yorba Wall for pool destructive testing and repairs project construction documents and administrative services in the amount of $42,739.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Staff report, Madam Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is the small-scale destructive project that was proposed in the final pool facility assessment. The project is to conduct demolition and repair in the lifeguard office to minimize unforeseen risks, obtain a better understanding of existing conditions, and test the feasibility of a future building-wide project. Last week, I told you about concerns about evaporation and a possible other leak. Since then, the Parks and Recs director, who has run that facility for quite some time, kind of alleviated a lot of those fears, but we're still going to do an evaporation test for when the pool closes on a Sunday night into Monday morning, just to make sure that there's not anything, just to make calm those concerns down. So this will be for all of the design documents and with the engineers, the plan to come in and what they're going to do in that lifeguard room to make sure that we are figuring out the saltwater intrusion and why those drains are lifting out. If you haven't been over there, wherever there is a drain, they've lifted like 3 inches out of the ground. And so on the hallway back to the showers and dressing rooms and in the lifeguard space where those drains are, they are just departing. It's weird. And so we're going to figure out why that's happening, and this will be the design project to do that. That information should inform the scope of the pool overhaul and what we'll need to do to fix the rest of it.
Thank you. All right, assembly discussion. Seeing none, roll call vote on the motion.
Ms. Roberts,
Yes.
Mr. Smiley,
Yes.
Mr. Whiteside,
Yes.
Mr. Woods,
Yes.
Mr. Ames,
Yes.
Mr. Gardner,
Yes.
Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Would anyone like to change their vote? Motion passes unanimously.
All right, up next is resolution number FY 2026-14, authorizing the manager to accept the 2026 Volunteer Fire Capacity Grant for the Women's Bay Volunteer Fire Department. Mr. Whiteside.
Move to adopt resolution number FY 2026-14.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Staff report again. Ms. Williams.
Thank you. The USDA Forest Service through the State of Alaska Department of Natural Resources Division of Forestry and Fire Protection make grant funds available to volunteer fire departments. Women's Bay Volunteer Fire Department applied for and were granted $4,849.21. This resolution will allow us to be the pass-through to accept that money and put it in their account for them.
Great. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote on the motion.
Mr. Smiley,
Yes.
Mr. Whiteside,
Yes.
Mr. Woods,
Yes.
Mr. Ames,
Yes.
Mr. Gardner,
Yes.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
Ms. Roberts.
Yes.
Would anyone like to change their vote? Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, and we have a few ordinances for introduction, some rezones in Uzinki. First up is ordinance number FY 2026-20, rezoning Uzinki Block 3, Lot 2, 2209 2nd Street from R1 Single Family Residential District to B Business District. Mr. Whiteside.
Move to advance ordinance number FY 2026-20 to public hearing at the next regular meeting of the Assembly.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Madam Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As the mayor mentioned, this is first of 3 rezones happening in the native village of Uzinki. For this one, they submitted a rezone request in order to convert an existing building on the subject property to a child care center on the first floor and 2 vacation home units on the second floor. The Planning and Zoning Commission, at a public hearing on February 18th, approved Resolution 26-015, recommending approval of the rezone request from R1 Single Family Residential to B Business District. I think the interesting thing in the first 2 is because these don't match the future land use map. When the Borough Assembly changes or adopts this, it will automatically change the future land use map designation for the subject property from public use to mixed use / commercial for the future looks at these kind of properties. And that's going to be true for these first 2 ordinances.
Thank you. Any discussion? All right, seeing none, a roll call vote on the motion, please.
Mr. Whiteside,
Yes.
Mr. Woods,
Yes.
Mr. Ames,
Yes.
Mr. Gardner,
Yes.
Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Ms. Roberts.
Yes.
Mr. Smiley.
Yes.
Would anyone like to change their vote? Motion passes unanimously.
All right, next ordinance is number FY 2026-21, rezoning Uzinki Track C, Block 1, Parcel 1, USS 4871, 648 G Street from R1 Single Family Residential District to PL Public Use Lands District. Mr. Whiteside.
Move to advance ordinance number FY 2026-21 to public hearing at the next regular meeting of the Assembly.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Madam Manager.
Thank you. This is the native village of Uzinki submitting a rezone request to complete the existing building on the subject property and allow it to be used for a multi-use building that includes a wellness center and other community services. The Planning and Zoning Commission, at a public hearing on February 18th of 2026, approved Resolution Fiscal Year 2026-016, recommending approval of the rezone request from R1 Single Family Residential to PL Public Lands Use District. And this has that same caveat. It's on lines 54 through 58 or 57 in the ordinance. When the Borough Assembly changes the future land use map designation for the subject property, will change from public use to mixed use commercial on the comprehensive plan future land use map.
All right, thank you. Any discussion on this one? Seeing none, roll call vote on the motion.
Mr. Woods,
Yes.
Mr. Ames,
Yes.
Mr. Gardner,
Yes.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
Ms. Roberts.
Yes.
Mr. Smiley,
Yes.
Mr. Whiteside.
Yes.
Would anyone like to change their vote? Motion passes unanimously.
And the last item, we have ordinance number FY 2026-22, rezoning Uzinki Block 14, Lot 7, that's 3525 3rd Street, from R2 to Family Residential District to PL Public Use Lands District. Mr. Whiteside.
Move to advance ordinance number FY 2026-22 to public hearing at the next regular meeting of the Assembly.
Second.
Moved and seconded one more time, Madam Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As Assemblymember Smiley said last week, this one is a little bit more of just a cleanup. This rezone request is in order to permit the current uses of an existing building already on the property. The Planning and Zoning Commission, at a public hearing also on February 18th, approved Resolution Fiscal Year 26-17, recommending approval of the rezone request from R2 two-family residential to Public Use Lands District.
Okay, any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote on the motion, please.
Mr. Ames,
Yes.
Mr. Gardner,
Yes.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
Ms. Roberts.
Yes.
Mr. Smiley,
Yes.
Mr. Whiteside.
Yes.
Mr. Woods.
Yes.
Would anyone like to change their vote? Motion passes unanimously.
All right, with that, we come to our second opportunity for citizens' comments. For those who wish to call in, the local number is 907-486-3231, toll-free 1-855-492-9202, and please turn off your radio or any listening device to prevent feedback. And of course, those in the room are welcome to come up and comment too. We'll give a few seconds for any calls. Okay, hearing none. Oh, never mind. I had a
We're
feeling
now
I should
answering a
wait.
call from the queue.
Assembly meeting, you're on the air. Please state your name for the record.
Yes, my name is Carly McChesney. I listen to school board meetings, and
Are you still there, Carlene?
yes, I'm calling about is I really appreciate the decisions that the school made, gave time for the Coast Guard base, and it gave us time to accept, what's coming next. And I think we really needed that. I just couldn't picture those kids from Kodiak riding the bus all the way into town, or kindergarten and first graders climbing up the steps on the buses going to school. So I really appreciate that decision, but I also don't want to see us put out money, that cap on the school to give to the school. Thank you.
Thank you, Carlene. Thank you for calling.
Yes.
Any other calls? Okay, we're not seeing any more calls. We'll move on to Assembly member comments. We'll start to my left here with Mr. Gardner.
Yeah, just wanted to say I was a little disheartened the KCHC wasn't more interested in that mental health building, and if we could get that back on the agenda to find out what we want to do with those, and then just to encourage the public, if there is any nonprofits or anybody that would be interested in moving into that building, while it is a blank slate, it's actually in great shape if you've got a little imagination and know how to swing a hammer. So hopefully we can find a good use for that, and thanks for a great meeting, everyone.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson.
Thank you. I just wanted to congratulate Lena for her Master Municipal Clerk certification, and I think you're serving as an outstanding example. So, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Smiley.
I read 2 articles this week that were really pertinent. One was about housing and allowing different modes of housing in Portland, Oregon. That was quite informational. I'll try to copy it and send it around to everybody. And the other one was an article about a kelp product that is being used or developed in France to form a facial application that really is very useful and quite expensive to mortals. So that's something that I will copy as well. For those of you that want to wrap your face with kelp.
Thanks for that. Mr. Ames.
I'd just like to congratulate Caroline on her effort and work, and she should be very proud of herself putting in the time and advancing and completing it.
Thank you, Mr. Whiteside.
Thank you. I just wanted to thank everyone who takes the time out of their day to come in and speak with us during citizens' comments or make phone calls to share their thoughts or send us emails. We really appreciate that. I think we're seeing an increase in community involvement, so I encourage those who encourage folks to continue to do that, and those who maybe are reluctant to, please think about doing that, even if you can just shoot us an email and share your thoughts with us on any topic. We're very appreciative. I'll be out on leave next week. I am not taking any computers. I'm barely taking my phone just so I can find which next food truck I want to go to. So I will be going dark, and way to go, Lena. We're proud of you.
Don't worry, Bo. We will find you. Ms. Roberts.
Congratulations, Lena.
And Mr. Woods.
Lena, I've known you since I had hair. And I kind of know some of the background of where you're coming from and what you've gone through and how much you've worked. And having interacted with you in a variety of capacities, starting as a teenager, spending far too much time at the base gym. it is nothing short of incredible to see what you've accomplished. You have every right to be proud. And I look forward to using you as an example of what can be done and under not so great circumstances. So thank you for the additional value you add to our community.
All right, the next Assembly work session is scheduled on Thursday, March 26th at 6:30 PM, and the next Assembly regular meeting is scheduled on Thursday, April 2nd at 6:30 PM, right here in the Borough Assembly Chambers. All Borough offices and facilities will be closed to the public on Monday, March 30th, 2026, in observance of Seward's Day holiday. All right, motion to adjourn, Mr. Whiteside.
Move to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. All right, we are adjourned. 7:35.